So you're thinking about buying this Maxi Trac awning from Napa? Well, in this video I will cover my review, my install, and possible reasons of why you may want to purchase one of these. So how I first heard about this Maxi Trac awning from Napa was through the Xterra Facebook group. It was also advertised on an Xterra, so I was like, well, thought if it's advertised on it, I gotta get it. So I went ahead and bought it. It was a little over $100 with tax. The reason why I bought it, I was going on a trip after my sister's wedding to Michigan. And I thought, well, this will be the perfect opportunity to use it. Then if I ever go to the Outer Banks or down the shore or anywhere, or even just camping, I'd have somewhere to get out into shelter, whether it's raining or just to get out of the hot sun like I am right now. Very comfortable right now in the shade. I'd be sweating to death if I wasn't. Will it last? In my opinion, yes. But it also comes down to how well you treat it. I tend to just plan based on the weather, so if it calls for rain, like on my Michigan trip, those first 3 days, I didn't use it, just to help prolong its life. And if it does rain or gets wet, like it did in the case of when I was in Wisconsin, let it air dry, and within like 10 minutes it was nice and dry, just like you would do to a ground tent. If when you pack up and it's all wet, once you get home you let it air dry and air out as well. And then if it's windy or anything, it has extra rope that you can tie down with some tent pegs to help hold it down. It's not all that windy right now, so I just put up the adjustable poles it came with, and it's working perfectly. Would I buy it again? Yes. It's fairly cheap. It was on sale. I think at least on their website, they said it was on sale. Who knows what they actually carry it. But it's at around like $250 or so, and then marked down to $100 for sale. Compared to the ARB ones, which are actually smaller, they're 8 foot by 6 foot, where this Maxi Trac awning is 8 foot by 8 foot. You do get an extra 2 feet width of the awning, so an extra 2 feet wider. That's why it does hang over the windscreen of the car a little extra more than a 6 foot length ARB awning would be, or an Ironman or any other brand that you purchase. Would I recommend it to people? Yeah. It's held up very well for the amount of times I've used it. I've put it on back in August. Now it's November, and it's been holding up very well. I don't use it regularly, but when I use it, I take care of it. So I plan to have it last for a while, and if it doesn't, it was only $100. It wasn't $400. Any modifications I made to it? I did add an LED strip just underneath, so right before my Michigan trip, and then I have it wired so I can plug it into my Jackery or into a cigarette lighter and then power those lights. They are a bit bright. I wish they were more of like an amber color, a little softer, but they worked perfectly on my trip. The first 3 days of my Michigan trip, it was raining, so I didn't really use it. But later on through my trip, especially in Wisconsin as well, I used it. I have a couple photos I'll put up on screen. So far, it's been holding up very well. I haven't had any issues with it. Its case, it has like a rubber sealing, so if it rains, it won't come in. I haven't had any issues with mold or anything. Nothing's become rusted. After the night in Wisconsin, I got out of the Xterra that I was sleeping on a cot, and I started packing up the awning and everything. And in the morning, there was a lot of dew on it, so it was all wet as I'm packing it up. So then after that trip, once I got back, unrolled it, set it all up, and within 10 minutes, it was nice and dry. Any modifications I plan to make? I do plan to reinforce the way it's bolted to the brackets that it came with. So it came with some L brackets, which I drilled holes through for the exhaust clamps that I used to go around the roof rack of the Xterra, because they're completely round, so they're about, I think, 2.5 inches diameter. So got some 2.5 exhaust clamps. Cut up an inner tube of a bicycle tire, put those in just for a little extra cushion and grip. They've been doing quite well. I plan to get either a 6 foot or an 8 foot 3/16, so just under a 1/4 inch thick a piece of flat bar of either stainless steel or aluminum, basically depending on whichever one's cheaper. Bolt it to the bracket of the awning itself to help reinforce it, because as I do drive, if I lean forward over the steering wheel and look up, I do see it from overhanging the windscreen, that I do see it flex a little bit in the wind. With it being reinforced, that would eliminate the flex it has and just also help prolong its life, with it not warping or anything due to just being out in the sun or anything like that.
Like I had mentioned earlier, you can not only just use it for camping or down at the beach, but also while tailgating, and if you have the trailer hitch grill, it's an added bonus. You can use it during a farmer's market or a garage sale, watching a parade or fireworks. There's a whole lot of scenarios that you can use this awning for.
If you have any other questions that you want to know about this awning, leave a comment below of your question. I will get back to you with an answer or recommendation, or if you have any recommendations for other people to read of how they attached it to their vehicle, because obviously every vehicle is different, every roof rack's different. I do plan at some point maybe putting a snorkel on this vehicle, which would then interfere with this awning, so I can always flip it to the other side. And it would be no problem at all, since I used exhaust clamps. Just unscrew those, swap them over to the other side, screw them back in, and I'm good to go. The hardest part about this awning is the takedown. As you saw, I'm struggling. And then as you're rolling it up, it just keeps adding weight as you try to keep out the wrinkles or anything. And it's just a bit longer of a process, but all in all, it's not all that bad. It takes less than 5 minutes to set up. So if you got a small 2-person tent, that also takes about 5 minutes. So setting up camp, 10-15 minutes, and you're good to go. You can start cooking dinner. Consider liking the video if you found it helpful at all, or if you just like the video in general. Either is fine by me. I'm not sponsored by Napa in any way, shape, or form. I just wanted to do a review of my Maxi Trac 8-foot awning. If you liked the video, hit that like down below. Follow me for more as I turn my daily driver into an overlander. Little step here and there. 8-foot awning, bigger step. Looks the part. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Don't worry. It's not beer. It's ginger beer.